Dan, you can say D-Lo. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say D. That's dope.
All right, go on.
What a D? That's hard. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I have a lot of jokes for that, but I'll leave it alone.
Hey, Cliff.
You know what I love though is when you do get on stage, everyone goes D-Lo.
Do you know there's a story to how that began? You know, that was it was one of the GBB competitions, and there was about 4 Brits, and they were like 6'5", like all 4 of them, proper British guys, and I did my. No, I didn't. I didn't even do a show yet, and they seen me somewhere in the back or like somewhere out, and then they just started chanting that because that's the method of a football chant. It goes So they did it D-Lo, 4 of them. They didn't even say hi. They just stared at me stone cold in the face, went D-Lo, D-Lo, like cheering me before anything's happened. And I smashed it on the night, and then they just screamed it at the end, and then everyone did it, and that's the birth of it.
That's so dope, man.
That's when D-Lo became the D. Yep.
He said 6'5", proper British men.
Yeah, shout out to them, whoever they are.
It's crazy how things start off, isn't it?
Yep. Talking about starting off, man. D-Lo just dropped an album.
Yeah.
Yes. Guys, first off, I'll just say this is What's the Word Podcast. We're here with AR, Black Pegasus, and the one and only D-Lo, a.k.a. Dan.
Hey.
I figured we get this thing started right now.
A.k.a. the instrument.
Yeah, you aren't lying, man. You're not lying.
Beyond, so he's so blessed, right? He's rapping, he's singing, and then he makes all of the instrumentation, right, with his voice, but then just his speaking voice. Like, I'm like, bro, tell me some stories, man. Like, bro, like, this is great. It's amazing. Like, you got it all, man. Welcome to the damn show.
I appreciate that. I don't, that's quite, I don't know if you guys, so I know you guys are all in the rap realm, and it feels like, especially over here in the UK, it feels like an insecurity how your voice sounds is like the biggest part that plays if you can be a rapper or not. I don't know if that's the case over in your guys' culture-wise, but I definitely didn't think I had no singing or rapping voice by speaking.
I
exact opposite, bro.
Voice for me to listen to a rapper, voice, even singers, rock artists, vocalists, the voice is very important for it to stick with me when I want to listen to it. So I always gravitate toward like the Pop Smokes, like the dope type of, you know. And
you like that heavy bass. You like the heavy deep.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. That's what he's into.
Like that shit. Yeah, but I think D-Lo, when I heard you rap, so the first one was the music video, which was "Don't Change When You're Famous."
Yeah.
So that was a surprise to me because I was like, oh, he actually barring on this one. Okay, he's spitting. And I was like, oh, his voice sounds dope on rap. And then when I went to the other ones, what was it? Istanbul?
Oh, don't even get me started. I got so much stuff.
There's a few where you're rapping, and then there's also a few where you get like this melancholy, like vulnerable side. I think it was it Mind Blank or what was it? Yeah. That one I also really like. Go ahead, Cliff. Cut you off, bro. Didn't mean to.
No, you're good. I was gonna say I noticed. I think you were working on a track with Inky. Do I have that correct?
That's right. Some parades.
Some parades. Yeah. And I heard you spitting bars, and I'm like, dude. I'm like, and you are right. You said something about artists in the UK. If the accent is too thick, it's hard for people in the US to pick up on. But it's been growing exponentially here in the US because it's gotten pretty stale, our styles here. So what you guys do in the UK with your callbacks, it's so insane how you guys, the structure of your bars are much different than how we set up things here in the US. So I was instantly drawn in, especially if I could understand what you're saying, then I'm like, oh, I'm all in.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was sleeping on UK like drill until I started doing reactions. And that's when I was like, also there's this changing of the guard. And it's just like with trends, there's like waves, and the UK's on a wave. K-pop has their thing, you know, but there's these different things changing. So when you were saying what you were saying, I was like, bro, it's your time in a sense, because right now I feel like the wave is kind of leaning towards a lot of the UK drill. It just sounds different.
Yeah, and it's like Sench, for example. He's worldwide.
Yeah, Drake's been stealing flows from everybody over there.
But Drake steals flows from everybody, bro. But Drake co-signed Sench on that freestyle.
Yeah.
And Drake is mimicking Sensuous Style and Dave and all that. Like, these two are big. Yep. But talking about the UK, like the drill now, drill is really big, but it started with grime, man.
Like, I love grime, dude.
That grime, that Skepta, that JME, like that's the type of shit that I kind of grew up on as well. Also, so I'm from Belgium, but I gravitated to also the UK and US type of rap.
Bro, when I started the reaction channel, I was only like a couple weeks in, and people from the UK caught my channel. And by the way, I have like the best subscribers probably. I mean this, like from the UK across the pond. So kind is ridiculous. And first they started me off with Dave, which I'm sure you're familiar with some of these artists I'm about to list. So they hit me with Dave, and I was like, this dude's nasty. Like, I gotta check out more. Then they were like, oh, check out Rex 32 and Avelino. They had a freestyle together. I was like, this is dope. I was catching most of the bars, but some of the references were to UK things that I wouldn't know. It's Southside Chicago. They don't teach us stuff. Then they go, okay, Cliff, you did a good job. Here's a Kala. And I was like, who? Like a Kala. Dude, I did not know this man was a damn professor. This dude was giving me history lessons on like the world in a freestyle in double time. I was like, I can't break this down for shit. You guys threw me off the deep end.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting that it's like picking up across the globe. I mean, it's tough because from my perspective, the UK rap, there's like certain points that are trying to be hit by the artists in the UK, and I think that the trends or the biggest success in UK rap is so much different to how we've seen like American hip hop or even just like drum and bass rapping or anything over the start of this millennium, because we're trying to go deep on, like, for example, single entendre that doesn't make sense. Like, we like to go as simple as it can be, where it's still hard to understand. And I'm so surprised by when I've seen you guys react to the bars that I've done. So I've seen you guys specifically. It must have been Some Parades and Don't Change When You're Famous that has a music video. And you guys are picking up on things that I wouldn't have predicted that you would have. Maybe that's just that. Maybe that's a lack of my part, and you guys, how good you are at reading what you read. But you're not supposed to sometimes. Like, especially in Some Parades, like there's some things that no one that I've seen can pick up on because it's too deep. You have to have lived in this country for a decade plus to know what's going on with those bars. And I think that's what the UK rap culture likes the most, is to make it as English as it could be, where even I'm confused when I listen to some of the bars from Wretch. And Wretch would be confused at other bars, and then eventually you pick up on it, and then those terms and those angles are used, and now there's even more confusion. And I think it's about being the most confusing.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I wouldn't even say like it's not confusing, but like, okay, here's an example. Like, I was listening to your album again at the gym today, and I just was pointing out little things in my head, and I had to write them down really quick. You said something about an Istanbul, like, you know, so you said something like, took a flight, when I come back and unite the kingdom, or United Kingdom. You like how you unite the kingdom. I liked how you did that. Then you also said, just like a tower, I fall. But Eiffel Tower. I was like, God damn it, man. I'm like, I've heard this 3 times. I'm just hearing this now. But you had them throughout every single song. I was just like, man, you said something, you said a bunch of stuff, man. You said, I had one on Mark Tier. He said, I don't want to hear that fucking monkey smack those cymbals. I didn't know what you meant by that, but I was laughing my ass off. I was like, what is this dude talking about, man? It was hilarious.
So I don't know if it's UK rap culture or if it's just my style preference, but I like to paint images that are strong, and that's probably the deepest part of my rap style. So I like to use words that I haven't heard other people use, like llamas. Or I like to paint pictures that are really vivid, they might not necessarily have a deeper sense, but I just like to find terms people haven't, like, I've never heard. So So, for example, if you use the term deja vu, that's something that everyone says once every few months. And if you say it, it might link to a song if the song is in its USP. So if there's a song about deja vu, that's the song you'll go to when deja vu comes to your mind. And I just like painting weird images. That's one of my styles when it comes to writing a song or rapping. So the monkey on the cymbals, you laughed. That's the response that I'm happiest to receive.
I was just, you talking about the bananas, and I heard the monkey slap. I was like, what? This man I had to rewind it when I was lifting weights. I was like, I can't lift weights. Listen, I laugh. I'm going to drop a weight on my toe.
But very on poetic. The Eiffel Tower bar. But there's a lot of references there that, so like, I definitely use, I know that it's quite a limited understanding some of the bars, because a lot of them football references. Like in some parades, the impossible line would be need my phone for the restaurant because I'm belling them like a brummie and telling them that they're scummy. Impossible. If you're not English and you don't follow football heavily, impossible. Because like the entendre is like quad there. It's
Nash would get it.
All right, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. Need my phone for the restaurant because I'm belling them like a brummie, telling them that they're scummy. I want to know if that can be depicted from anyone watching.
It's something with brummie then, no? Brummie. That makes me think it's brummie. That's one of the words.
See, I had like a leg up because I used to watch Faulty Towers when I was a kid, and I used to watch like
He's Dr. Who and shit.
No, I'm not explaining. He's not gonna explain it. He wants people.
D-Lo ain't explaining it. I'm like, bro, I need to know now, bro.
He wants people to sit there and think about it. It's replay value, man. You gotta do it like that.
That one's hard to depict. I actually set the task. Shout out to Inky, by the way. Like, completely smashed the mix and master on this album. So, like, that was a serious help. The album wouldn't exist, or my projects wouldn't exist in that way without Inky. And I set him the challenge to try and depict that line. Actually. Totally impossible. He got nowhere.
Yeah, you had a bunch. You had a bunch. You said, I don't come with a label, but labels do want me. Like, I don't come with a label, but you can't put a label on me. Labels are trying to come after me. You had like these crazy double time patterns. You had that one line about oh man, you said something about like the ideology, the aliens have seen us. Like the way you were just working off the planet schemes too. I was like, Jesus,
lyricism.
Christ. Yeah, I was just like, man, the man working his way through this.
Guys.
So working their way through the system, I was like, Jesus Christ, man. And while I'm paying attention to the lyricism, I love the beatbox so much. So I'm getting pulled in two different directions. So you get the best of both worlds if you are really into beatbox and lyricism.
Hey, appreciate that. So, did you guys have you checked out the album in its entirety?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I let it play from start to finish in one go, because it's a journey, right?
I got a little question then, actually, because I asked plenty of people before, the ones I shown before it released, I was asking for their favorites, because it's just fun for me to know. So I want to know, out of what you've heard in the early stages, what's your favorites on the album?
Diesel, Mind Blank, Istanbul. On the first listen, those were the ones that
I can see. You said you like that. And you like that. Yeah, so Diesel, I see.
I like the aggressive shit, but also I like the Mind Blank was just such a vibe. It just took me on a journey when I was like, damn, it's just beautiful.
I appreciate that.
B3?
Cliff, if you want to go, because I want to segue that into something else. So if you want to go, Cliff, and then we'll start getting this thing.
I know where you're going with this. All right, so I can't pick my favorites because I like them all, but when I heard how'd you pronounce the word? I thought it was always baklavas. Is that, am I saying that correctly? Balaclavas. That was it. Balaclavas. Dude, I was listening to the lyricism and I was just like, holy shit. Because you gave me like a bit of that grind feel, but at the same time you brought in like different pockets that I'm not used to hearing, even though it was like single little words you say here. I forgot what verse you were going into with that, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that was fire. Diesel was one of their two. Diesel reminded me of like something I should be hearing in Peaky Blinders, like when they're doing like a walk-up scene or like an end credit or something. Like it had like this amped up vibe But in the beginning, it had this badass, like old school grainy sound to it, and then it just picks up as it carries on. Like, so those right there, Diesel, Balaclava, and let's see, what else did I say? I had one with heavy lyricism that I wrote down, but those two right there. And I also like the one with the music video, the main one that you had your main feature off too. That was fired.
I appreciate that. It's a cool list. And that's a cool list.
All right, so I have an answer for you, D-Lo, but I have a question before I go into my answer because the answer is going to spark some conversation. I think we had a convo about having clips on each of our channels, so I'm going to kind of segue this and for the clip for my. Are we still doing that, fellas? We'll have the full podcast on the What's the Word and then on our channels. All right, so you guys, I have had the what is the word? Why did I just have a brain fart?
I just had like 5 a minute ago. So you're good.
It's not. Oh, okay. Here it is. Sorry, brain fart. 2020 has struck me hard, you guys. All right, here we go. You guys, we had the opportunity to interview arguably the greatest beatboxer on the planet Earth, which is crazy. Now, on my channel, we have an audience of some older boomers, some young people, etc. So for the people who don't know what a beatboxer is, someone who uses their voice, their diaphragm as an instrument to create all these sounds and musicalities just, from their mouth. So I want to preface that, and this is who we have on the line right now. D-Lo, you can check out this whole interview on the What's the Word podcast, but right here on my channel, I wanted to ask D-Lo right now in person, what were his musical influences? Now, this is a layered question because listening to your album, I'm thinking, there might be some musical influences from, because you asked this question, and this is why I'm asking it. You asked, what was some of my favorite tracks from the album? And the things that stood out to me was Don't Change When You're Famous, Istanbul, and Diesel. But something about Talking to the Walls, I felt like there was a jazz influence in that. And with that being said, I got very curious because Diesel almost sounded like there's rock, blues, and electronic infused with just this. And on my channel, I've been going through all the classics. So I'm seeing all these parallels with America classic rock and UK classic rock. And so there's just all this shit going on. And I was like, I have to know, what are your musical influences from now? Because I can tell you rap. So there has to be some recent ones. But I'm just really curious on your musical influences.
That's a cool question. It's a stack question. So it's tough to answer because I've been influenced all the way since childhood when it comes to making music. And then I've had different influences coming into the album. Because the album is just 10 songs, where I write a lot of songs, far, far more than the 10 on the album. And if it could be that way, I'd tenfold that to have 100 out. But each song takes time, and each song has different, unique influences, I would say. But it's tough. I think maybe the first influences were trance music for me back in the day, because that was huge to my parents' generation, the era. So we're talking about late 80s going into 90s. This music was strong, and so I was born in the 90s myself, so I grew up to late 90s and early 2000s music.
Okay.
And in a way, I think some of that music's never been matched to this date. So I like the 2000s era. I like that decade a lot, maybe the most, because I lived through it. And I think that music is better than a lot of music.
You're not lying.
Yeah, so that era to me was huge. And I think because beatbox has been the first way that I expressed my music, the fact that beatbox is so various gave me confidence to be various, and that's why you pick up so many influences in the album, I think. I am fairly cautious about how various it is or how many lanes I'm stepping in, but that's just what my music soul is wanting. I can't help that. I could write 10 songs in a similar style, so there's an identity for people to listen to, but then I wouldn't be expressing every nook and cranny of my music. So I guess like Diesel, like AR said, Diesel and Mind Blank are his favorites. They couldn't be more different, really, in terms of traditional genres. They are different, very different. While I can note people that come to mind. In fact, I released I actually released inspirations on my Instagram for the album itself. So I'm just going to pull it up and read them out. Moments of inspiration. So for this album in particular, there was Gautier. I can't remember why. Gautier is so good at writing songs. Aside from Somebody I Used to Know, it's a huge hit. We all know that one.
Oh, that's Gautier.
But the rest of the songs he makes are so good, and I think I just wanted to take his approach where he just cared only about music. There was no, I think it feels to me that that's a real artist that cared about the creation only, and actually maybe selfishly just did it for himself. Music that he liked the most and then released it. Accidentally went to stardom. That's cool. So that was the inspiration. Do any of you know Basement Jaxx?
It rings a bell.
Not familiar.
It rings a bell.
So there's some pretty cultural like British rock or like punky style that's inspired in the album, and Basement Jaxx are one of the big ones for that.
Basement Jaxx.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. X. I'm looking into that. Oh, double X, you said?
It's electronic. It's electronic, right? Or am I? Is it again?
Sorry.
Is it electronic?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of instruments involved. They do a lot of live shows that are insane as well. You know that one of their main songs that inspires me is "Where's Your Head At?"
Oh, where's your head at?
Yeah.
Beatbox. Beatbox did a loop version of that a long time ago.
Right. Yes.
That's of course. Yeah, absolutely.
In a lot of shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
don't let the walls cave in on you. Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
See, what sucks about like here in the U.S. is like we kind of like get suppressed from other music from other countries. And so we had social media. Now we get the chance to hear everything. So I'm horrible with names, but when I hear like somebody sing like how you just sang that jingle right there, like a little part of the song, instantly clicked in my head because I've heard it one time on the radio.
That's a banger, man. I'm saving that one for later.
Yeah, it's a tune.
That's a banger.
So I think just to tie it together, I think I didn't think like I was so invested in music from young. Like 4 or 5 years old, already like vibing hard to music, and all the way up to about maybe 18, I didn't get into I didn't step into that lane myself. I just listened and appreciated and thought about how I'd make songs, but never did that. And then I started making songs through Beatbox at about 18, let's say. That's when I started getting kind of like really good. And so that was about a decade. And now I'm just, that's my like writing songs, definitely the thing I do the most, or the thing I like the most right now. So I didn't know it to get round to that. I didn't really know what it takes to write songs. So all of the best music that I've picked up on along the way has been influenced. It's an extremely large merge and nothing too strong. No influence has been super strong. Like there's no direct influence. It's actually a really extremely unique blend, I would say, of thousands of songs over the years. Trying to figure out how to deliver that emotion that I got.
That's interesting you said that, because from everything I heard, it's eclectic, right? Like how you said it blends all these different things. And because I was trying to, when we're on YouTube, trying to give examples or comparisons, that's what you try to do when you're explaining certain things. And like, for example, so for me, I felt like your best songs on the record were Don't Change, When You're Famous, and Diesel. And like, I think I like Don't Change the best, but they're like fighting each other for which one is better in my brain. And then after that, it's the Istanbul joint. But with Don't Change When You're Famous, I got like this vibe, like something that Kanye West would try to do in like when he started moving into more experimenting with his style and getting away from like just the old, like the 90s hip hop samples, the Dipset sound, and he started experimenting. I was like, ooh, this is giving me like a Yay type of vibe, but it's its own thing. So when I make that comparison, again, it's not like, it's just like trying to pinpoint these things going on. But the one that really got me was this talking to the walls, because I heard like this crazy jazz influence in there. And I was like, what the like, it's interesting because certain records sounded just like records I'm going to hear on a normal album. And but then there were some beatbox tracks that where I was like, oh, like I was like, this is a beatbox track in the sense, and this is new to me because I can separate the difference. Like I felt like Cocaine was like this track where I was like, oh, I feel the beatbox energy, but those other ones, it's hidden so well. Like, and when I say hidden, it's just like, the fact that you're making all the sounds in Diesel is crazy to me. Like, I was just like, bro, this is just wild. This is a wild train. So anyways, I just think it's really fun. And on my channel, I've been doing classics. So I'm just, because I didn't listen to a lot of rock or country growing up. So like, I'm getting introduced to Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Eagles, like a bunch of classic stuff. And so, also there's this bass line you use that reminded me of like something that Primus would do. And I'm like, bro, there's just so many different things going on. So I just thought it was cool to actually hear that a lot of the things I was thinking could have influenced you didn't at all. That's what's blowing my mind right now. I'm like, bro, that's insane. And then again, I'm not that familiar with trance music and stuff like that. One of my buddies who's on the podcast with me is, but I'm not. So like, this is like a cool way to see how all musics can inspire people and take their own journey.
Yeah. What question? Go on, Cliff. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. You asked a question. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say there's definitely like there's a huge amount of influence across everything. I think I've managed to pinpoint something important about that. I think so. The project of the album is that it's all vocals. So in a better way, it's beatbox, sing, and rap. They're the elements in the album. That's what the album is built from. And I think what that is there's a lot of variety in it. And you say you picked up certain influences that may not be the same. While I became a master of that one lane beatbox, super deep mastery, thousands and thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of hours into that. And so with so much like years of dedicated precisional practice of beatboxing has now unlocked a versatility that is like mind blowing. To me, I would say that if I had to rank the instrument of beatbox among versatility, then there's nothing close. Because when you can learn every frequency you want to learn, you learn how to learn sounds. That's such a skill, learning how to learn sounds, because you can learn that. Therefore, if I hear new sounds, I can learn them through the skill of knowing how to learn a sound. Now, then the options are limitless. And so I can deliver that jazz feel that I never thought I would, or I never thought I'd hear someone say they liked the jazzy song in my track. I didn't know I'd be capable of that. So that can deliver so much. Actually, having such an extremely massive tool, it's like a plugin with 100,000 options. So therefore, the music's various.
That's interesting because when I was in America with BP, right? And I went in the studio with one of BP's engineers, Blitz, and he was like, "Did you just do a lip roll?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, could you spit some beatbox, just some single sounds?" And I did, and he was recording them, and then I became the drum kit, right? And he was using that to make stuff. He was like, "Oh, could you do a bass line?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." Could you do an 808? He was like, "Yeah, I could try." And then he was doing that. So it's exactly true what you're saying. As you know, of course, you're leagues above what I'm capable of, no doubt about that. But you are the hey, what you say, motherfucker?
Battle.
I'll battle you, dog. You are the no, I'll play it. I'll never battle you. You got a better beard. You are the instrument, and you are providing everything. So you have so much. You have your hands so much in, and it's not like most rappers. You have your hands so much in production. So I like the shout that BP gave about like Kanye West. Pharrell, Kanye West, even Goche that you were mentioning, a lot of these, who's the artist, the very famous singer, pop singer, that'll use Charlie Puth, like that. Even those levels of production are crazy because they'll find all these creative ways to create something, but you got it all here.
So this is, I always say this in my beatbox reactions. I always say that the human being is the original technology and everything else is trying to emulate that. And beatbox always showcases it right in front of your face because it's like the computers, the AI, it's all trying to simulate what we do. And I feel like we haven't unlocked our deepest potential as human beings with nature. And beatboxing is just like it's like literally the manifestation. Like you can just see it. You're like, how are they making these sounds? Like D-Lo, one person, can literally, like, he could recreate a Pink Floyd song with his own vocals. Like, that's insane to me. And the other thing he said that I wanted to tie into the way I sometimes see or experience things, when he's talking about these tens of thousands of hours, it's flow state, what she's reached. And I always reference it to martial arts because that's what I'm into. For example, in jiu-jitsu, when you've learned the fundamentals and you've rolled enough, sometimes you'll strangle someone with something new. You're like, I don't even know how I did that. But because you know the fundamentals of where your body needs to be positioned, you start doing new things. You see that with the Rotolo brothers, Gordon Ryan, etc. And that's what he's talking about. He's the creation state becomes this flow. Like he's like, I am the sounds. What I hear, I can become. And you know, the Bruce Lee, be like water. It's really deep what you just said, and I just wanted to highlight it and kind of tag it to something that resonates for me in the physical. And I'm like, yo, that's wild.
And I need to piggyback off that for 1 second and like how you mentioned how some of these songs sounded so different from one another, but I don't think maybe you do realize this, but you basically created an album. I know you said it's only 10 songs, but that's typical song length these days for an album. You basically created what labels are looking for when they are looking to sign an artist, is you gave them a piece of every bit of you. So they got like a club banger. They got something that's, you know, really like heartfelt. Like they got different sides of you that you show. I don't even know if you meant to do that, but when I heard it, I'm like, holy shit. He like did this all at one album. And this is your first album, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And I remember you saying like at first you were vulnerable about putting it out. You weren't so sure. But now you're at a level where you feel confident enough to put this out there, and you know you're just happy with where you're at in life and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's about I'm quite inept to tech. Like I'm awful when it comes to what my job is. Mythical. Don't know how I'm in the YouTube space.
Oh, me too.
I'm King Boomer when it comes to trying to figure that stuff out.
Oh, you have three of us. You got me, you, and BB right here, man.
Bro, I don't know how we're doing it, but for real, I've struggled to learn those tools, you know, the tech tools to get to the album. Hence, probably that's the biggest reason why it hasn't happened. I say it in Don't Change When You're Famous, where it's built my own lane, still driving the same way. Only difference I made is that I took off the chains that had me locked in a cage. That's kind of referring to the restriction of beatbox on its soul state. It's a restriction. It's like locked in a cage, filling all of my music up with anger and rage. Now I'm delivering a certain energy that I can only deliver because it's just me and a mic. But the album is like 50 layers. Now I can sit back, relax, apply the vocals without needing to try and get a snare in there. Now I can rap to my highest degree or sing to the highest degree. That was the most exciting part of it because my passion is deeper than just a beatbox, you know? So getting those things involved was good. And the album came about, I mean, I overthink quite hard and I'm quite a perfectionist when it comes to planning that kind of thing. So I tried to plan for years how would the first album look? Which songs would it be? But as soon as this was fully done and built, I just went into a door and just went for whatever comes flow state. like BP said, I just decided flow state is going to dictate what the first 10 songs will be, because there's songs I wrote years before the earliest songs in this album, and some of the songs on the album I still wrote even this year. The start of this year, Don't Change When You're Famous was being finished. And they're early to me because they're songs that are a decade old that I still haven't released. And some of the songs I weren't good enough to do. I wrote them, or I designed the hook in my head, the melody, and I weren't a good enough singer yet to even do it. That's why some songs aren't in there. I'm still not good enough to do them. And I don't want to hire a singer that's way deeper, more skilled to sing my hook. So Stubborn Me has improved to the point where it's at least capable. And
so you're gonna keep getting more and more capable too if you keep doing it. Definitely. I mean, that's
the plan, right? So it was fun to express myself without needing to do the beatbox at the same time and just purely sing from the heart, or rap with no restrictions. That was a major part.
I just like the way you released it. Like, you were just open to the world about like how you were just, I don't know, man, you were just completely open, let your guard down, like, here, this is what I got for you, this is what I've been working on, this is what I'm passionate about. Like, you kind of even explained how you were a perfectionist, and then how you finally found it, and this is what I want to give you. And it's so beautiful and abstract at the same time. I think even BP wanted to ask you about like the cover of the album, if I'm not mistaken, too. So if you wanted to go into that, BP.
Yeah, so I do want to go into that for sure. You said something that I wanted to highlight for anyone watching. Like, you've mastered sound, beatbox battling, but you're going into a new chapter of your journey, because mastery with music is and recording music and releasing music is a whole nother thing of its own. And you said something to me that is dope, because it's wisdom. When I was young, so I put out probably like 12 albums, like blah blah blah, whatever.
Oh, wow.
But there's a wisdom you don't have when you start to pull records, because you're so emotionally attached to your creation, and you already have the maturity to see and hear these things, which I didn't have when I was young. It's like, oh, we just recorded this record, it's hot, baby. And it's like, so, but with time and mastery, you start like, there's mad stuff I pull now. I'm not even in that space as I was. But seeing that, I just wanted to highlight that. That's dope. It's super mature to be able to have the wisdom to see what is going to make it and what's not going to make it. And what's crazy is you're just going through the chapter now. You're going to get better at it. All of that, like, that's a art in itself. And you said the way it looks. You just said that, and then earlier you said painting vivid pictures with your lyrics. So my question was, what picture were you trying to paint with the album cover?
Cool question. The album cover's a bit restricted in that sense, so the imagery can't be so strong, because the album, it's got an objective in there that it represents all the songs.
Yeah.
So that picture alone has 10 references to the 10 singles.
I see that flag,
the turkey flag, diesel.
Yeah. So that was the goal of the piece, and I wanted to keep it simple because I think the deepest complexity is in the audio of it. And I love visual stuff, but I'm not a visual guy. Where Teresa, my partner, is, and so I definitely wanted her to get involved under a simple memo for the album cover. I've always liked album covers. I've never deeped them. It's just, I don't know if you guys relate. I don't know how much you deep that, but when I listen to music and I see the record's album cover, I don't really analyze it. I'm into the song, but the picture is like subliminal. And so the color or the effect matches it eventually because it's with it. And so I just liked the color and the simplicity. I just wanted that to represent 10 songs. And I wanted it to have some meaning because of how much it means, all the songs. Because those songs to me and my taste in music are 10 out of 10. Because I've deeped them for a long time. And the mixing method with Inky was absolutely meticulous. You wouldn't believe it. I was in New Zealand for fun for 3 months. Every day of the 3 months was wake up, have a coffee, sit through the latest mix notes, write 20 more, off to Inky, pass the baton, backward and forward for months to get it exactly how it needs to be. I often feel like a slave to the song. What I mean by that is the idea passes through my head, and one of my strong points that seems to be a hard thing for a multi-artist, I'm talking someone that arranges, is I think a special point for me is knowing how to write the song from start to finish and not just being stuck on one idea that's dope. I like to stretch the whole thing and make it complete. And I feel like the slave to the song. The song is more important than me, without trying to get that corny. That's quite corny. It's actually impossible to explain that without it being corny, but
I see what you're saying.
The song is designed. I'm the brain that designed it, but I'm the slave that needs to make sure that song is done perfectly to its maximum degree. Every single part, every lyric, even like, what does the hat placements mean? Does it is that the song? Is that how the song should be? So every single part is so like deep, and I'm just doing it so the song can exist. And then I feel like a worker, like a worker ant, just slaving to the song's completion. But I'm enjoying that process.
So okay. So that was my next question. Was like, so you are happy though? Like you are enjoying the process, even though it is a lot. You're still enjoying it though, right?
Yeah. So I found a healthy balance. You know, okay. I said my strong point isn't to get techie. The tech side, as soon as you have to involve clicking buttons and getting all, I hate that. Like I tell you, it gets me angry. If I had to mix and master, I'd have to learn more tools I don't know, and I don't want to, and then the album wouldn't exist. The creative part, that's me. I go creative. Everything is creative, and then allow people to help me with tools I don't like doing. Even to the point of my YouTube channel, the upload process I'm helped with, because that will cause me a bit of stress that I'm not happy to be involved with. Therefore, I want to still do it. I offload that to someone that won't be so stressed doing that.
Yeah, I actually do the same thing.
You need to create. You need to be the artist that creates, instead of being focused on all the administrative extra stuff that you don't actually need to be. I like this because I tell everybody, go outsource stuff. Just focus on doing what you're good at. I also liked what you said before, where you create because you want to create, or about the Goche mentioned where maybe it's selfish because of him, but that it should be like that, because the main goal of a song should never be, yo, let's make a hit record, because you're not going to succeed. It's going to be ass. Make songs because you want to make those songs. Let it be for yourself, or let it be to help somebody through it, but just make the music and also make it because it's an idea that you want to make. It's something it always needs to come from the artist. That's why I like when there's criticism, even if it's constructive criticism, I'm like, let them do their thing. Just let the artist be the artist, especially when it comes from people who are not artists. They don't need to listen to that, right? Like, I think the artists should just figure it out on their own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Off of what he was saying, delegation is very key to be successful in anything from business to art, etc. So delegating those things and having the luxury to do that is like super good, and you can excel faster with the album cover. I think it's also interesting that essentially from what I got from what you were saying is there's components from each song on the album cover, right?
Yeah.
And but when I saw the album cover, like I saw the dude pumping the gas into the ground or whatever, and I was like, oh, diesel. Like I connected to that. But I was like, my problem with it was when I saw your album cover, I thought of the current state of the world. I was like, it's chaos.
Oh,
and there's chaos
people
in this album cover.
Yeah.
There's like, let's say, unrest in the Middle East. There's energy wars. So when you have this like looks like an electric bolt going to the ground to gas, I was like, so it's interesting what art can speak to everyone differently. Because I immediately, when you said it, I was like, cool, got it, makes total sense. But for me, that was where the question came from, because I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, you know, even how the dude has like a mask on. It just reminds me of current day just society in the world. Like, I was like, bro, this is kind of wild. Like, is he trying to tell me something? Like, holy, is there all seeing eye? Like, what?
Conspiracy theory behind the album cover, bro.
I had to put on my tinfoil hat. Like, damn.
No. I think so. The original, like the album was imaged in my head when we was in New Zealand, and the end product is about 80% accurate to the vision when I first came up with the idea of tying it all. Now, if I was forced with a lie detector to put money on, am I influenced by the current state of the world? I would say, yeah. I would say that image is definitely like suggesting what you're saying.
We can't be. Yeah, we can't be right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, it wasn't like the effort, but it probably is influenced by that, the chaos and the placements and stuff. You're definitely right in that way, I'm sure of it. And that's probably why the image was sparked out of nowhere. But yeah, I would say so.
Nice.
Because it could have been done differently. The 10 references could have been done in a way less chaotic manner.
Yeah. It could have been a glamour shot. You're just there like, hi, kids, you know, but it's not. And
I'm like, bro, right now, BP.
I know. Hey, yo, holla at you. Bully. Anyways, I like that, man. So those are some of the things that stood out. Yeah, man, we'll keep this rolling. I know that AR. Are you ready to drop some bombs, man?
Yeah,
you got some questions?
AR, you got some questions. Bro. I know you want to talk to this.
All that hair on your head. Look at hold up.
You wanted to say something. You wanted to say something.
Bro.
I need to go to Istanbul. You see this hairline? What are we doing? I gotta go to Istanbul.
Hey, I'll fly out with you.
I can't see.
That shiny ass forehead I got.
Bro, I'll be there in 5 years too, bro. My shit going away.
I'll be there with you, AR.
Airline. Fuck that. I'll go bald gracefully. I don't care, man. Yeah. So there's this. Yeah. So okay. So this will be the segment for my channel.
Wow. I'm excited.
But I basically got two. I got main channel and beatbox. So I might chop it up into two and just like utilize use the you know what I mean 1,000 IQ move right here. You know what I'm saying? About to do that, yeah.
That's a lot of IQ.
That's a lot of IQ, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I get hit. Oh, shit. All right.
Get the fuck out of here. I can't do this.
Leave this shit in. This is great. You were, there's the song Istanbul on the album, by the way, right? Oh, by the way, people watching, I'm here with D-Lo. I'm here with co-hosts Cliff Beats and Black Pegasus. And we got him, man. We held him captive to do a little bit of an interview.
Up right now in the back room.
Yeah. Like, he ain't getting out until this is done, man. Like, the song Istanbul, you said something. Correct me on if I say the words correctly. You say cross channels on the judge panels. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Check this. He said cross channels on the judge panels. You know I would win them.
Yeah. I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
Okay, right.
If I took part, they say cross channels on a judge panel. If I took part, I would win them.
If I took part, yeah. So let's emphasize that. Let's break that down real quick. If I took part, let's underline that. I would win them. Now he said it, and I've been saying it. Like, everybody's like, yo, hey, who would you think would win this great beatboxer? I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. This great beatboxer versus this great beatboxer. And I'm like, D-Lo. Yeah. I'll be like, just wait until he comes back. And I know he comes back. Because I don't know if you remember this. I sent you a voice message a while back. And I was like, bro, you got to come back.
He was having a moment. He was getting emotional. You got to come back, man.
It's because I watched your the freestyle you did, the 10-minute freestyle you did in the attic.
Oh yeah.
I
remember.
Oh yeah.
What was
Sound
it?
sketch.
Sound sketch. I was like, ain't no way, this dude is ridiculous. So I was like, okay, I gotta send him a voice message, and I sent you the voice message. I said, bro, you gotta come back. You gotta beat all the ass, right? And I heard that bar, and I was like, oh. So my question to you is, what does that bar mean? What does that line mean? Is there a competitive comeback?
Anytime in the future.
You're getting deep with it. You're getting deep with it.
I got to, man.
Exclusive.
It was just a little side note, by the way. I seen something pop up online about, just to say, it was from Cliff earlier when you said balaclava. The Americans would reference that as a ski mask. We just say balaclava in the UK. That's the term. But yeah, going into this line, it just means like, it's not. It ain't that deep.
Braggadocious a little bit.
It ain't really too deep. It just means I like what I do for work. I think it's unique. Going around and judging, that's cool. And I do often sit in the judge panel and think, if I took part, I'd win that.
I see it in your eyes, dude. I watch you all the time. I'm like, he wants to battle that man right now.
I think in terms of like, what does that mean, or is there a competitive comeback? I mean, I think like it's a tough relationship in the battle world, because there's somewhat of a ceiling when it comes to battling. There's many ceilings. Firstly, the boring ceiling is the financial ceiling, which is important. I can't fund my life through battling.
Yes.
I never was capable. That's not capable. I didn't earn much from the companies that I battled for and with. That didn't matter though. I want to beat everyone. That was it. I'll be the best. In that realm at that time, that was how it meant to me. And I feel like I proved things I really wanted to prove. And each passing month and year without competing, I'm getting better at what means more, which is writing the songs.
I like that.
Learning. I'm learning so many things. And I've got to say, I am comfortable with my beatbox skill and that lane, because I still practice like a battler to the day we're on, and tomorrow and the next in this studio. It will actually just be more so stood in this space. I needed this studio to have an open space. I have to move it a little bit wrong way. But yeah, I have the open spot down here, and I will stand there and battle and do the same things the same way, like how I used to battle.
Emulated that, like, right. You're battling. Oh,
and
yeah.
Even to this day, like, this is cool. Let me show you. So you go into voice memos.
Yeah.
So when's the time? At 9 a.m. today. Look what that says.
He was battling.
No recording.
When I finished from the gym, I made that walking back to the car. That one.
I knew it. I know he's battling. Dude, one day there was a video of you on Instagram, and you were like, it looked like you were like praying to your food, but you were beatboxing. I made a comment on it, and it went viral almost. Like 5,000 likes. Yeah, I had like 5,000 likes. I was like, this is what D-Lo does before he's battling his own food or something like that. And everyone liked it. I'm like, I know he wants to battle. But now that I see that you're saying, hey, there is a cap limit, it can't fund my life. And now I found something here that I'm learning so much from. Like, it's still in my heart of hearts, but I'm trying to learn more and progress as an artist. I get that.
Yeah, like, listen, right? The battle heart never dies. Yeah. I can say that much. And BP talks about being in the rap battle scene, so maybe you can relate in that sense. It never dies, and it's not the end of the chapter. Definitely not. Especially these recent days, I'm starting to be a little bit more inspired than I was in the last 3 or 4 years when it comes to would I love to battle right now, because I don't have you could say I have a bigger passion, and for about 2 years now I can say that statement is that writing albums or singles or collaborations with artists, that's my now biggest passion. So now battling isn't my biggest passion, it's not my everything. Therefore there's a lot of emotional detachments now. And do I want to just shit on people in a battle now? It comes to my head, especially with all of the ideas that I've never stopped creating. So it does cross my head, and I could imagine that I will battle in the next years. I do think about that.
Yeah.
But I do say there was other ceilings, like the creative ceiling. The judge's discipline is another ceiling. A huge reason why I didn't step into the battle realm. I'm afraid that my stuff can't be understood, because when I judge, I consider it extremely heavy duty to know what I'm hearing and be able to do it almost, which is an extremely high demanding bar to put on myself. But if I can't fathom what I'm hearing, I'm not good enough as a judge. And I put years into thinking about that theory. I like to know how hard it is. Otherwise, I'm guessing. I want to guess because that's not fair on the artist who's put the time and effort into that sound or combination. And if I battled, I don't know how people could understand because it's with my sounds in my way. Therefore, you have to judge on different parameters. And it would still mean something to win or lose. It means a pretty hefty amount if you win or lose. So it'd have to mean nothing, I think, for me to battle.
You said a lot, and it really is crazy, the parallels to fighting. With there's like, unless you're like the number one in the UFC, there's this like you're paying for training camps, you're getting hurt, etc., just because you love fighting and you could be the best at the time. So it's really interesting what you're saying, and there's a couple of layers, I think, and I don't know if it translates with beatboxing, because when I was battle rapping, and this was back in the day, 8 Mile era, so it's like freestyle off the top, over beats, and it's all improv. So there's a level of difficulty trying to get into flow state and do your thing. And once I reached my height, which was I ended up getting second place in a really big battle called Scribble Jam, and at that time that was the biggest battle in the world. And I took a step back. I came back home and I was very popular because of the battling gave me the exposure to now start putting out music. But the issue I had was my producer was just like, bro, like we'd always have to re-record stuff because I was just battling on tracks and creating works of art and learning how to write a hook and doing stuff like that is so different than the battle mentality with lyrics, right? It's very aggressive. It's this, that, and the other. So, there's only a few people that have mastered that. You have your LL Cool J's, your Eminems, etc. But a lot of people who battle rapped and focused on battling never crossed the line of creating art because there's this barrier to entry of the way the mind thinks lyric-wise. I don't know if that also happens in the beatbox world, but I do know that battling is definitely different, even just from the sonnets, sonically listening to you battle and then listening to your album. There's huge differences. So I don't know if there's anything there. But for me, it took a while, to be able to balance freestyling, battling, and then creating actual music that's going to resonate with an audience.
That is so couldn't agree and relate more. Not many statements I could agree and relate to as much as that one. It is the exact same. It's carbon copy. That creates a problem. Filling all of my music up with anger and rage. That's the line in Don't Change When You're Famous, and it just relates to what you're saying. My music has became a little bit more, either you could say matured, seasoned, or is subjective, creative, whatever you want, for more time away from the music influence to create by battle. And they're two lanes that are very hard to balance. To do both at the same time is extremely tough. I think more about this is my ego, or there's no way to step away from this one now. But I think I'm that good now that I might be able to balance both lanes, enter the battle as it's nothing, and just do what I can, and then get back to the real deal. But then is that the battling can also be the real deal under the right circumstances? I would need to be motivated to battle. And also, it's a beauty in trying to find the divide. And I really love what you discussed there. Like it's really important. You're spitting. That could have been a track, a record. Those bars you just spat then are probably better than the freestyle ones for a hit single. Yeah. But it really is real. It's a really, what's the word? I've been trying to think of the words for years to explain that energy that battling gives you that's different to what you want to deliver in the song. But it's quite deep. The battle world's deep because you've been there on that stage. I want to humiliate the opponent because you're battling me. How dare you? So therefore, there's a pressure to do that in that way, and so to deliver that, to deliver the energy takes a lot, and then all my focus would become that. And when I did the latter battles, that was the only creative process I had, So I would need to be motivated, and to be motivated, I think there would need to be a new battle concept. And I have a few, but I don't know if I have the time to organize it. But there's some really great ones. I'm just letting it sit naturally now. I'm just letting time pass, and if I'm inspired and motivated, if the company comes along, or a concept comes along, or threats come along that question my ability,
yes,
those are the reasons why I would step into the battle world.
Yeah. So hypothetically, if somebody was just talking major smack, like, oh, they were just talking shit, right? Like, I might know a few people who did that.
I think it would be more about what I hear. So, like, they can talk as people can talk as they please. Talk the talk, walk the walk.
There's
a difference there.
Yeah,
I like the walk. Yeah. I judge the walk on my own.
Bars.
So, for example, I can use examples here. You guys maybe are familiar with King Inertia.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so my style in beatbox or battle is to be the master of all angles. I use every angle. I will do my King Inertia style, or my collapse style, or my music style, whatever it is, because I can. So I do all the lanes. I can't do Inertia's lane like him, and that's a weakness to me, trying to be the best I can. I want to be the best in every lane.
I mean, the N-word bass, is that what you're talking about?
Just standing on the stage, being a gangster and drilling out bass with your throat.
He's
freestyling too sometimes. It's crazy.
Right.
Dude.
And the thing is, for me, I'm probably one of the best in the world at that lane.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm not him. He's the best by far at it. I'd have to take him on with different tactics. But I'm stubborn. And I like to go with only, like, I would go base to base with him if I battled him. That's how I've always approached it.
I see.
Yeah, you would want to counter him in his own style.
Yeah, and that's extremely confident of me, because I might be able to get a technicality win doing a series of different methods and approaches, but that's not fun. That the ultimate challenge would be beat him in his lane. And so I see these people and I think, wow, like for me, Inertia is the world's best at that lane. It's so unreal. I told him time and time again, there's a few objective flaws in what he does. Maybe that's why he's not gathering all the big titles, all of them in a row that he wants.
Yeah.
I personally don't care from a consumer, because I acknowledge greatness in that. And he is just the best at what he's doing.
Yeah.
The audience also, because if you see, his performances, he racks in a lot of views. His elimination at, was it GBB 21? His elimination there, I think it got like some of the highest views just
with
because
Helium, maybe.
No, that's the battle. That was Helium's counter, which was iconic.
Yeah,
because he countered the inward bass, which he should have kept going longer because he might have won that. But it's King Inertia's elimination round was insane.
Yeah,
it's because that's when D-Lo was explaining it. That's what I'm thinking of. 100% right out of that. By the way, I was just joking. I'm just trying to poke the bear a little bit to get you back.
Yeah, it's all jokes.
I was joking. Nobody was talking crap about you, by the way. So
no,
I was just like, it's all jokes. And again, as I said before, like an artist should do what an artist wants to do, and you kind of in a sense excelled that battling mentality or that perspective and mind state, and just became the artist now because you're developing art. The same as like a Shogo's doing, or a Codfish is doing, creating like original pieces in their own style, which I think is great, because sometimes, this is an opinion in the beatbox community, that sometimes that mentality of keeping it only in the beatbox battle scene can be very limiting for growth in general and for the individual.
Yeah, it all really just comes down to what your goals are. It's what's your goal? What's the life goal? What's the ambition? That's all it comes down to, really. And my ambition is, I always like to I always like to develop my ambition, and winning the big battles, or this, like, it ended on a big win streak. The win streak's current, technically, if you wanted, because I didn't lose on this big win streak. but I proved a lot of things I wanted to prove, and I didn't even make an album. What? I've done some of my biggest hit singles in battles that I've still not released. I like the way you move.
Yeah.
Like, this was naive in a sense, because that was a songwriter inside a battle scenario, and there's extremely important pendulum that must be balanced. I want to release songs and singles, but the beatbox community, the deepest, the biggest expression is through battle culture. So that's really the deep of it is battling. So I've had to rewrite my formulas, and that's a fun process, and it's like a rebirth. Something BP said earlier, I completely correlate and relate. It was good words, that. And now I'm just obsessed with artists that I love and the sounds they've got, and the confidence, the what they do inside their sounds. Like, I'm deep in it hardcore, and I really like it, and I want to express that. Pretty hooked on that.
So, but can I ask you one question then? All right. So one time, I used to game with King Inertia every once in a while. He used to play Apex Legends. Anyways,
yeah.
So one day we were playing. Every time we drop in, he'd be beatboxing. And I'm just like, I can't focus on shooting somebody with this guy making these noises in my ear. It's just, I'm so distracted. He did something one time within my headphones where he made it go in one ear and out the other. And I'm like, what the fuck did you just do to me, man? I was like, I took my headphones off. I was like, what is going on here? Do you know what that is?
Was you smoking?
Do you know what that is?
Like, she knows what that is. He started laughing too.
Do you know what that is? Oh yeah, that.
Bass went too hard, bro.
I don't know what he did. He started.
Bass went too hard.
My buddy,
that Sherm, that PCP.
My boy Vikes was there. He heard it too. He was like, "Wait a minute, did he just go on one ear and out the other?" I was like, "Did I hear that just myself?" He's like, "No, I heard that too." I don't know. It was weird.
I don't know. Some headphone thing. I don't know. Bass too fire. I think that's probably the case in that scenario. But yeah, he is like, for me, like, he's my favorite in that lane. He does like that one's banging, and I do think of scenarios where it tests me, and I think if I had to battle him in the early stage, that'd be very tough, because if he hits, my god, it's just so unreal. And I like to think about that. If when I see the competitive battle scene, I appreciate and acknowledge the complexity, but that's got very deep. There's an era in rap, let's say the early 2000s, where complexity in pronunciation and bars and syllables was a bit of a meta. The beatbox world now, the meta is to go deep on the complexity, which kind of makes it harder to listen to. And as a consumer, I don't listen so much, because there's not the space that I enjoy. Because there's many ways to approach the battle. You can win with simplicity if you know how. That can be the key. And so this has gone deep, and I can really respect and appreciate how complex some of these battlers are at this point. But none of it is interesting me or challenging me in a way that I think I couldn't beat that. And if I start thinking in that way, that would really start to grind my gear. Knowing my competitive side in there, then it would, if I started hearing what I think is too, like, how could I even approach that? Then it would grind my gears, and I think I would start thinking about, I need to get into that and try and see what happens when I get into step into that zone myself. But I do think that there's a few problems or things missing in that beatbox battle world at the moment. They've gone very deep on that complexity spike, and it's sacrificing a lot of nice things that I like from beatbox from the past.
Would you say, like, almost like letting things breathe sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, there's many tools. If you try to make it a bit more simple to explain, like, what about the listen and response? It's a battle at the end of the day. Battle your opponent. Don't write a song or a set piece. Yes. You should be open and unlocked and ready to respond, spontaneous. Or how about killing someone with something simple but perfect, or loud, like something anyone can do but louder or clearer and better, or in the middle of your set, knowing how to manipulate the scenario, the context to make everyone go mental. There's a lot of tactics in battle, but at the moment, the primary tactic is to be really complex, and it's quite it's condemning.
The people that make it to the top of battle scenes are the people who can change those dynamics. And it's interesting because going back into freestyle rap, there was all these nerdy dudes winning Scribble Jam, right? Like, and it was like this complex syllable usage. But then when people started showing up, and there's a complexity in simplifying the punchline, right? Like you take this big idea, let's say like Lil Wayne, I move in silence, my G's move in silence like lasagna. Like you're simplifying a complicated idea, and when you simplify it, it makes it more potent. You're talking about the same thing that I've seen in because like now it's like you have to like be a professor to understand some of the battle lyrics in the stand-up battles because the layers are so damn deep. But then sometimes it just takes someone with a really good personality to flip a simple a complex subject and simplify it, and that's what will sometimes get the louder response. You said something. You said the depth of the beatbox culture is in battling currently. And I think this is where it's great that we're having the conversation with you, because I believe you're one of the trailblazers, showing the musicality. The more you guys show the musicality of beatbox and how it can be used, these things are going to spark, because hip hop was just battling, breakdancing, rapping, DJ battles. That's all it was. And now we're fast forwarding to how much it's even influenced you to write, and it might not have been that stuff, but I'm saying this growth went to the 2000s where you caught onto it, and now you're at this place. So I think we're just at these stages of beatboxing where I think we might be witnessing, the baby get off the nip and start eating some damn solid foods, in a sense.
That is her nip.
Pretty simple way of explaining that. I mean, it's true. It's a correct analogy. I think the beatbox for me, it's just, I use it like the title of the album is I Am the Instrument. And I view now more than ever beatbox as an instrument. And what do you want? How do you want to play it? You can play it in a battle sense. You can play it in a songwriting sense. And that's the lane I'm in at the moment. And that's as simple as that, really. I just like the instrument a lot. I'm a master of playing it technically. And so I just like writing songs. And I use the instrument. In the album, it's 100% usage. The songs that I'm writing at the moment have no beatbox. Because the song is my favorite, my favorite thing at the moment. But the beatbox is there everywhere you go. When you leave the gym, when you're in the car, when you're in the shower, you can do it all the time. That's insane. That's an insane tool. It's so fun. Yeah.
Your song structure is incredible. Like I said, it's up there with some of the elites.
Oh, I appreciate that,
people who, like, I'm talking about as a songwriter myself for 14 years professionally. Like, I'm listening to your album, I Am the Instrument, and I'm just like, with just him as the instrument, creating this song structure is just mind-blowing. Just even like how you're going into bridges and, just fading out. I'm like, this is absolutely insane. I know you have engineers and stuff, but I'm like, you self-taught yourself song structure. You figured it all out. It's just, and like BP was saying, other people are going to see this and start probably following suit and help expand beatboxing as a whole. So it's a beautiful thing to see, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you bring a lot of value, and even with the battle stuff, I'd love to see you battle again, but at the level you're at, and even with the understanding of how monetization works, and in these type of situations, that ceiling, I'm a business owner, so I understand the complications of paying the talent or the worker and making sure everything is, just and exact. So I know there's probably some barriers to entry there, but like where you're at, it's definitely something that should be compensated at a high level, man. Like, it's just like prize fighting. Everything you said today, I can associate with fighting in so many ways. And not that I'm a fighter, but I'm just really into martial arts, and I have competed in multiple martial arts, so that's how I associate a lot of things. But it is really interesting to hear your story, and that was the one ceiling. We talked about a bunch of stuff, and we didn't hit that on the nose, because it's like the time and energy you put into these things, it has to have a value either on the front end, which is the cash, or the back end, which is the exposure. Yeah. So, you know, depending on how that plays out, it's not like you're, oh, he's too good to battle anymore. There are life choices we all have to make. And then also focusing on your passion and growing this, because again, I will say it again, you know, mastery in the music, you're mastering this now. Now you're taking on something like you are, you know, black belt on black belt with the battling. And I believe you're a black belt from hearing this album, but to get to the level you're at with battling, it will take time to, you know, keep recording and all these different things, because it's experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like that's so interesting. And to songwrite, release has a bigger ceiling, or there isn't a mastery of it. It's all up to interpretation.
There's no mastery. Correct.
There's no mastery. That's the thing. It's open. It's all interpretation. It's all taste.
Subjective.
With beatbox, there is limitations. Human tongue, human larynx, speed, combination. Like that is a tool. There's an instrument. There's limitations. It's more objective than doing a whole piece of art. And doing the whole piece of art is fun, and I'm so happy doing it. And with the beatbox, like I say, it doesn't leave, and the passion's there. I don't know how much time I put in now, but I couldn't time it. I do ask my partner, how long do I put into it? And she says hours a day. And I forget that. I don't realize that I'm still that hooked on doing it. But I just like that instrument, and I'm still finding fun ways of like developing that.
Dude, I'll see you on stage handing out awards, beatboxing in people's ears. I see you, man. I see you over there making noise. I'm like, this man's beatboxing while he's handing out awards.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring in the moment, in those times. If I've got a new flow, nothing's stopping that flow from being birthed in my head, bro.
I see with someone's ear going, I can see you feel like, mother, I know he's battling, right? He's beatboxing.
That brings this up. Does beatboxing impress your lady?
No.
Either does my rap. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. I was just making, because I was like, man,
hey baby,
you know, he putting it at like the candlelight. He's like,
she's my biggest fan of the album.
Mm-hmm.
She loves the album.
Speaking of that, I was bumping it, and my wife liked talking to the walls. She's like, what was that? I was like, oh, that's Delo. I thought I heard beatbox, but I like that second song. It was the second one I had played. Anyways, yeah. Well, you guys, we've done over an hour.
Yeah, we don't want to take up too much of this man's time, but we definitely want you to give a shout out for your album. Everybody, you got to go give us a listen.
Hold up. For the gram, we need can we get a demonstration of the master? You know, shadow boxing for your boys.
Damn.
I mean, just a little something, you know, we can put in the intro.
Yeah. I wasn't going to ask.
Let me
give me a flavor then. Give me a style.
BP.
Kick me off.
I'll leave that up to AR, because he's kind of like the
beatbox. I can tell he's the most tuned into beatbox. I can feel it.
What?
Yeah. So give him a flavor. Like, what do you want him to hit? He's basically, I'm like, yo, I can do whatever, bro. Little homie. Yeah. I got this. What you
show him
your lane. Show him your lane.
No, whoa, what the fuck? It's about Delo, man. Come on.
That's what we're. But he said, what's the flavor?
Oh man, bro, this is hard, man. I'm thinking. All right, we do a little bit of the inward bass in there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
A little bit of the trap, like some dirty trap stuff, right? Going into perhaps some drill, right?
Okay.
And then just going crazy with it, doing what you want. Okay.
So inward bass, bit of a trap beat into a drill beat. I like that. Okay.
The album's out now, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be right back.
I saw it. GBB 2025, 26, 27. I saw it, man. I saw it. World champion. I saw it. I envisioned it. I envisioned it, bro. I got goosebumps, man.
I
That's
hear the
nasty.
chants. D-Lo.
I appreciate it, guys. What a good time. Cheers for the chat.
Man. It's our pleasure, man. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Yeah, definitely give your album a shout out and tell everyone where they can go get it at, where they can find you.
Yes, you will be searching D-Lo, I Am the Instrument. Go and check it out. It's on all streaming platforms. You can support it by buying it off the iTunes store even, or just streaming it wherever you like. But yeah, I think there's a song for you on the album, so go check it out.
There's definitely a song for anybody on that album. Thank you so much, man.
All the links will be in the description, by the way.
Yeah, we'll put them all.
D-Lo socials, accounts, everybody, and then the album, everything, where you can get it, you know. It's all
even the
mini
clips are going to have all of this information,
everything.
Too. So,
yeah. Everything.
Yeah,
all right.
Sick.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching with us. This is What's the Word podcast. Thank you so much, guys.
That was hard.
Hard. The paint.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.